I've always dreamed of living in another country, of experiencing different cultures. And one day we were having a conversation. Do we do this now? Do we wait a few years and do it later? And Rudy just brought up a great point that you just don't know what your life is gonna look like in a few years.
I'm just going through the motions and I was like, something's gonna change. Are you living or are you existing? If you don't live your life, like, what's the point?
It's hard for me to remember now a time where we weren't hyper fixated on our health.
I woke up one day in October, and once I stood up, I felt my entire body started vibrating. Couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I had started to have trouble seeing and had difficulty breathing.
He tells me his heart rate is in the high 160s. And I'm like, wait, that's impossible. Something's obviously going on.
We rushed to the hospital, and once I got there, I was immediately admitted, and they said I was going to AFib, atrial fibrillation. Feels like your heart is basically feels going to explode.
They kept running different tests for a few days, couldn't get to the root cause of it. They eventually put Rudy under anesthesia. They were going to put a camera down his throat to get really good pictures of his heart. And so when the doctor comes out, she shows me a video on her phone. She goes, that's a hole. That's not supposed to be there. And so I'm like, what does that mean?
When you're born, you have a small hole in the middle of your heart, which usually goes away when you're 4 years old. Mine never went away. It actually got bigger and bigger over time. I went to the doctors in normal checkups like everybody else, but they just thought it was a murmur or it's like an irregular heartbeat. They told my parents that, it was just a normal thing.
I'm immediately like, okay, what do we do now? Because obviously we have to do something.
They told me that it was really important to close the hole in my heart as soon as possible. And if I wait too long, they said that the likelihood, 10 years, I would almost definitely get a stroke. And 20 years, the probability of being fatal is pretty high.
Rudy was very optimistic. I'm gonna be okay. And I think you have to feel that way going into surgery. When we got to the procedure, it was at a pediatric hospital. So it was a different doctor that was supposed to be doing it. He gave me the sense that he wasn't that confident he could close it pretty early.
I woke up from the procedure. I remember I was lying down, the doctor's on my right side, my wife is on my left, and everybody was just all quiet looking at me when I woke up. And I was like, I had a feeling like probably it wasn't going to work. And then once the doctor said that, I apologized, do the procedure, it didn't work out, it couldn't close it, so we have to go ahead and do the next step, open heart surgery. And I remember I just turned over to my left side, my wife is there, and I sobbed. I was crying.
It's heartbreaking to see someone go through that, especially a person who's lived their life always trying to take care of themselves. We went from being perfectly healthy people in their 30s to now you have a health condition and it kind of becomes your whole world.
I feel confident I'm going to make the procedure fine. I'm in good shape. But imagine if you were to pass away, if you were to go to die in 3 months or a year, what would you do? Would you still go to work? Would you still stay in your house? Or would you go ahead and travel? Would you go ahead and spend as much time with your kids? Would you go ahead and go and walk on the beach with your loved one, with your shoes off and have your feet in the sand. So all the things that a person would normally want to do during that situation, I'm doing it now with balance. I'm doing it now every day. And it's been so great and helpful for me because one, I will have these memories with me. So when I go to the procedure and afterwards, I know I'm going to be in excruciating pain, but I'll be able to try to okay, let me remember when I saw the flamingo dancer. Let me go ahead and remember when we had drinks at this bar and try to keep something to distract me from the pain.
Spending time with Rudy all day is amazing. We've always just worked so hard, whereas now we've had a chance to really slow down, enjoy each other's company.
She has been the rock for me in this situation. Being able to be there for me and help me any way she can has been great.
All we can do is trust that the doctors are going to do a great job, and they've said he's an amazing candidate for the surgery. I just want us to focus on kind of what comes next, which is, it's a long journey of recovering. We're going to do everything we can as a family to make sure that he's as comfortable as he can be. And then after that, we have this awesome life to look forward to.